Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the WizardCast.
Wait, Monday, Brian, it's not Monday today.
Of course it is, Mark. We always do a new podcast on Mondays.
Brian, I need to come up with a line before you actually record.
Well, Mark, you can't expect me to write the whole script just for you.
You could have warned me.
April Fool's, Mark!
Ha ha ha.
So for those of you who don't realize this, I told Mark we were going to do a special recording today because it's April Fool's Day, but I neglected to actually fill in all of Mark's lines in our little script review.
Yeah, thanks.
It is April Fool's Day, and it's a day that just seems to be made perfect for Mark and I. We're just crazy.
Like a fox.
So we couldn't let this day go by without posting a little something extra for people. So let's talk briefly about some of the fun pranks we can play as admins and in the office in general.
That's right, Brian. And be sure that when you follow these pranks, that you follow the rules of engagement. Because if you don't set rules of engagement, somebody's going to lose an eye.
And you're going to have a bad time. So, rule number 1, you must not cause permanent damage.
That's right. Permanent, meaning irreversible, meaning can't go back on it, meaning you're screwed.
Which follows up on rule number 2, must not cause physical injury.
Because clearly, physical injury is not always permanent. Still a bad thing. Let's establish that right now.
And let's face it, we work in an office environment, we're working for companies. We don't want to cause a financial disruption.
No, because physical injury, bad, not permanent. Losing your job, also bad, not permanent, hopefully. So just be smart.
Remember, let the company keep those half pennies.
Right, exactly. And in that spirit, in that vein, it must be easily and quickly reversed at the same time, because there's nothing that won't backfire eventually.
That's right. We don't want to cause a person to be not able to do their job for maybe a minute. The shorter, the better. You know what the most important rule is, though, Mark?
What's that?
You should always choose your targets appropriately. Ideally, someone who's a friend or a buddy of yours at the office, someone who's going to forgive you and not be mad.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to do a far-sweeping change that affects everybody in your company.
So, one of my favorite pranks to pull on a good buddy of mine in Salesforce is before they log in the morning, I go to their user profile and I change their default language. Ideally, something really exotic for that person. I like Korean. And then, you can send an email and make it look like it's professional, but even though it's just to him, and say, hey, we've been having some reports of issues with browsers not displaying information the same way. So please let me know if you have any experience. And when that person calls in, you act like, oh, it's a browser problem, and then ask them to refresh their browser at the same time as you turn their language back to English, or whatever their default language is. And you can do that once or twice, but remember, you don't want to take up too much of their time because they do have work to do.
What other Salesforce-related pranks could you do, Brian?
Well, you could do something more elaborate and create an extra page layout with a whole bunch of fake field labels just to freak them out.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, that's really elaborate. I would recommend, if you're going to do something like that, do it in a sandbox environment and with a person who's coming in to maybe give you feedback on a new object or a new setup or a process. Don't do it in production. That is definitely not a production-level prank.
No. Do you by chance have any others really solid ones? Maybe ones that you've posted before?
Well, Mark, do you think I would shamelessly self-promote a blog that I wrote about April Fool's Day a whole year ago? You're right, I would.
Yes.
So the last one is what I call the Easter egg, which is not so much of a prank, but more of a fun thing. You could put a little Easter egg gem for users to find. For example, I had in one of my orgs a special Visualforce page. So if you click the title of the object, it would bring up rainbows and unicorns.
That's a little bit odd. Why rainbows and unicorns?
The user actually requested rainbows and unicorns when she was having a really bad day. I gave her the option to say, what would you like the little loading status symbol? She went, I just want rainbows and unicorns. So she got rainbows and unicorns.
Very well. So you don't just have to do Salesforce pranks. You can do office pranks as well. I've done some oldies but some goodies. You can put something on the bottom of their optical mouse. An easy go-to is Scotch tape, but I find it more enjoyable to use the little stickers that come on prescription pill bottles. Things like "must not be taken orally," or you can get some really interesting ones. Things that are a bit more questionable.
You know, you could go for the double whammy and not just put a sticker or a piece of tape over the laser sight. You could take the battery out of the mouse too.
Ooh, that's nasty. One that I've had done to me, actually, back in the days when I actually had an office, they had snuck into my office over the ceiling. They had gone through the ceiling tiles, so they'd gone over my door, even though the door was closed and locked. They went through the ceiling tiles. Don't do this at home, kids. Don't fall and hurt yourselves. And filled my office with balloons, just dropping them over the door. Yeah, just dropping them over the door.
Oh, that's a classic.
You could go one step further if you really wanted. Don't do balloons. Do little paper Dixie cups filled half with water, covering every flat surface, including the floor. Every square inch of every flat surface. It's a lot of work, but they won't be able to move without risking a spill. Again, don't put that on electronics.
That's evil.
My all-time favorite. If your office happens to be on an upper floor, and you know of someone in particular who has an office, maybe, that you'd want to prank, lead a cow up the stairs and into their office and just leave it in there. Cows can't walk downstairs. They can't. The cow will be... Maybe this isn't a good idea.
Mark, where are most people going to get a cow for their office?
It's just a good prank. You know, how you get a cow is up to you.
For those people who want something maybe a little bit more accessible than a cow in your office.
It works, though. It works.
Yeah, this works too, Mark. Yeah, I trust you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin. Leave the cow alone. What will also work is if you go grab a package of saran wrap and saran wrap the person's chair. The beauty of this is it's just really annoying. It's easy to clean up. And if they're still in a hurry, they can still sit down and work, even though they're going to be making that little squeaky, plasticky noise until they take the time to remove it.
If you have somebody maybe who's really kind of strong and can do the deadlifting, you could also replace their chair with a toilet. Like an actual toilet. Just have it... What?
Mark, don't you think that kind of ruins...
It doesn't have to be a used toilet. You can get a clean one.
Yeah, but that's not exactly easily or quickly reversed.
But it's a hell of a prank.
It is, but it breaks the rules of engagement.
What were the rules of engagement? Never mind. I'll look it up later. I'll listen later after we post this.
Okay, that's it for WizardCast today. I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, if you have ideas for what you would like to hear, you want to submit a Yo Wiz, you got a joke, a tip, maybe a Salesforce video you want us to share, make sure you email us at wizardcast@thewizardnews.com, or just go to our website, thewizardnews.com, and click on Contact Us for the WizardCast and send us an email.
Yes, whatever you do, don't go to another podcast site like wizardnews.com, because those guys are... Okay, that was my horrible attempt at doing a joke, and no.
That was terrible.
This is what happens when you don't write a script for me, Brian.
Mark, you're the one that said you didn't want everything scripted because you wanted things more natural. It's not my fault that our natural state is bumbles.
I'm a failure.